like Penn State has hired. Speculation is they've hired a new coach. ESPN is reporting it. Should have an official announcement on Saturday. You'll be up at State College. Bill O'Brien, the offensive coordinator for the Patriots, he's been in the NFL for 3 years. Got a college background. I'm not overly impressed with where the schools he was at. But let me ask you, you cover the Penn State as the beat writer. Bill O'Brien is the new coach, replacing the icon Joe Paterno. Your thoughts on Bill O'Brien as the new head coach for Penn State?
I think I'm okay with it I would say I'm okay with it in context. Now, we could talk for a week about the context here because it's big and complicated, and there's a lot of elements to it. But I think I'm certainly I don't have a huge problem with it based on what it's possible to know, and there's a lot that it's not possible to know right now.
The image they keep showing on TV is from a few weeks ago when he's yelling at Tom Brady, and then another time with him and Belichick where he looks like he's got a lot of steam coming out of his ears again.
He's feisty.
But his background was at Brown University, same as Joe Paterno, Maryland, Georgia Tech, and Duke. That might not be the right order, but not powerhouses in college football or even the ACC. So I'm not overly impressed with where he is in college. But at least he's had the experience with recruiting and so forth. And he's been the quarterback's coach or wide receivers coach for the Patriots and now the coordinator. If I'm a high school player looking to go to Penn State or was on the map before, am I impressed with those credentials, at least since 2007 with the Pats? What do you think?
I think 18-year-old kids will hear Patriots and Brady and Belichick, and that will be generally a positive thing. I think Penn State has a reputation of being a place that is not cutting edge offensively, to say the least. So maybe this addresses that a little bit. And there's some other things about this that I kind of like.
So they could go from linebacker U to Air O'Brien, maybe. Clearly, they're looking for an offensive coach. Wouldn't you say that from what you?
Well, I think once it became clear that they were not going to be able to hit a home run with a grand slam home run, I think I don't have any doubt. There's no doubt in my mind they called Tony Dungy. And I think he said no. I think they called Peterson, the guy from Boise State. Mm-hmm. He eventually said no. He supposedly has a problem with the East Coast. He hates the East Coast. It's very strange. So
join the Big East. That's good.
And then I think it was Munchak, and Munchak is a guy who, I mean, he's primarily an NFL guy. He's never been a college football coach. Has a lot of loyalty to the organization he's with now, so he kind of was in and out. And then I think after that kind of got out of the way, then they thought about NFL coordinators with a college background or with some sort of college affiliation. Clemens, the guy at the 49ers offensive coordinator who had been at Stanford. Yeah. And this guy, Bill O'Brien. There may have been others that we don't even know about. Right. So I think they wanted to go in that direction, and I think it gives them an opportunity. One of the things I like about this is I think it would be nice for Penn State, especially in the short term, to be able to keep some of the members of the defensive staff. Bradley, Vanderlinden, Larry Johnson. I think maybe two of those three or even one of those three short term transitionally in terms of recruiting, because they got to get out and recruit now. Yeah. That's critical this month. So I think this kind of this makes sense for that. I think Bill O'Brien will bring in his own offensive guys, and that's what you want too. You don't want the current offensive staff, in my view. So in that sense, I think it sets up to be a good situation.
This coach, O'Brien, could he be a bridge to the big name in the future? I think there's too much on the short term and the long term of what's going on with the fallout of Sandusky that maybe kept some of these coaches from taking this job.
I think
even a TCU coach, which you've speculated before, you were
I don't know if they even tried.
You were hoping that was your choice.
I wish they would have. I wish they would have tried with Gary Patterson at TCU. Anyway, I think that if Joe had just retired, if you're forget the whole Sandusky thing, I'm done, I'm retired, then it would have been a lot like Gene Bartow replacing John Wooden. You know what I mean? It would have been a lot like, and the shadow of Joe Paterno would have been awesome, and the expectation that you genuflect at that statue of Joe Paterno would have been tremendous and would have really been onerous, I think, for the next guy. And then maybe you're right. Then the next guy would have been a placeholder to the real next coach. But now I think there's less of that.
Okay.
I think there's an opportunity here to become the new legend. He doesn't have to win 11 games next year for people to feel pretty good about it. Right. I almost think that that some of the pressure is off in that respect, although I don't know if some of these other guys felt that way. That's kind of how I see it.
Interesting. He's 42 years old. I'm only a few years younger. I could coach him. But Joe Paterno was 40. I didn't know that when he took over Penn State.
Well, he was an assistant first.
You're right. He was with him
quite a long time,
Yeah.
16 years, I think.
What I also think is interesting is I had some alumnus say to me, they're only going to win 6 games next year. I think the only one who would have won 6 games if Bradley or Johnson or whoever else took over, because the offense would have been the same. You have a chance now for a dynamic offense with this guy. Now, let me ask you one more question to this. He says he's staying with the Patriots. They're in the playoffs in the NFL. Could go as long as into February of the Super Bowl. Is that the right decision? Is that the best thing for Penn State, for him to still be working his former job while he's got a new job with recruiting and everything else, putting the staff together? Can he do both?
Knowing Bill Belichick, I wonder if they would have let him do that. If he wouldn't have wanted to stay, I don't know. Obviously, it would be better if he's in Happy Valley working and recruiting. Obviously, it would be better. Maybe that's not realistic, and I don't think that's a deal breaker, because you don't want to. If you really believe this is your guy going years into the future, then you're not gonna not hire him because of 3 weeks. Ideally, yes, he should be in state college.
With today's technology, he could be on an airplane looking at people. He could be on a cell phone texting.
And
it's
will
crazy,
be.
and he will be.
Certainly will be. Yeah, certainly will be.